National government to allow essential work and religious gatherings in areas placed under general community quarantine beginning tomorrow. The Marikina testing laboratory gets the go signal from the health department to begin operating tomorrow. The Labor Department readies up to 1 million jobs under its post-COVID-19 recovery plan. Mass transport to resume in areas under general community quarantine, but partially, says transportation officials. U.S. President Donald Trump and America's top infectious diseases expert see hope with Gilead's drug in the coronavirus fight. A Monaco company switches from making joysticks to face shields in the virus crisis.
Bacolod City is now included on the list of areas where enhanced community quarantine will be extended. Meanwhile, restrictions on essential work and religious gatherings will be relaxed in areas to be under the general community quarantine beginning May 1st. Rosalie Cos explains why.
Based on the most recent resolution of the Interagency Task Force Against Coronavirus Disease, essential work gatherings and religious activities may continue in general community quarantine areas beginning tomorrow, May 1. Malacanang clarifies that minimum health standards should be ensured in these gatherings. These health standards include physical distancing, mandatory wearing of face mask, face shield, or other facial protective equipment by attendees throughout the event.
Sa religious and work meetings, dapat 2 meters ang distansya dun po sa mga nag-a-attend ng work meetings at mga religious gatherings.
Residents aged 60 and above are not allowed to go outdoors provided their activities are absolutely necessary, such as obtaining essential goods and services or for work in permitted industries and offices, both in GCQ and ECQ areas. This after some groups of senior citizens appealed to the government.
Hindi po kayo pinipigilan. Basta allowed na yung inyong trabaho, pwede po kayong magtrabaho mga seniors.
Meanwhile, the IATF has approved the Bacolod City government's request to include the city in the areas where enhanced community quarantine will be extended until May 15. Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Philippine National Police assures of protecting public health more than anybody's personal interest. The country's top cop also ensures that any arrest or sanctions on any violator of coronavirus measures has basis. Lea Ilagan details why.
The Philippine National Police leadership appeals for cooperation and understanding from the public in the implementation of the ECQ designed to curb the further spread of COVID-19. PNP Chief Police General Archie Gamboa says their priority is public health over anybody's personal interest. The country's top cop explains that in the process of securing public safety, asking personal information from anybody passing through checkpoints, especially during the wee hours, cannot be avoided. Though human rights advocates say this is a form of human rights violation. General Gamboa further explains a new normal is inevitable. However, he assures the public that police officers are constantly reminded not to blatantly disregard privacy rights of an individual. General Gamboa also assures of the stricter implementation of the ECQ. This is especially for repeat violators.
Pero pag hindi ka talaga madala sa pakiusap, dahil nagmamatigas ka and you start already to violate the law, then we all have the reason to arrest you.
Gamboa adds arrest and penalty the police will carry out will be based on local ordinances. On the other hand, sanctions on ECQ violators are based on the Bayanihan to Heal as One law. Lea Ilagan, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Residents of Tondo, District 1 are expected to stay indoors beginning this Sunday. Dante Amento tells us why.
Manila City Mayor Francisco Isko Moreno Domagoso today signed Executive Order number 22, which places the District 1 of Tondo under a 48-hour hard lockdown. The measure will be enforced from May 3, Sunday 5 a.m. until 5 a.m. of Tuesday next week, May 5. Residents are expected to cooperate with city authorities.
Magtitiis na lang kahit papaano.
Hindi kami magugutom. Yan lang importante.
Mass testing on 800 individuals will be conducted by the Manila Health Department in 4 different schools. As of today, Tondo District 1 has more than 100 confirmed COVID-19 cases and 231 suspect cases.
May mga ilang individual, about 11 of them in Barangay 20 turned positive in the rapid testing kit. So the Manila Health Department now will conduct surveillance.
Dumagoso also says some barangays are exempt from the hard lockdown at night for the continuous flow of food supply.
Mayroon tayong exempted na barangay. Barangay 1, Barangay 2, Barangay 3, 4, and Barangay 7. For purposes of discussion, this is geographically located along Divisoria. No? But they are only exempted during night time from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. of that particular hard lockdown.
Mayor Dumagoso continues to ask for cooperation from residents to avoid penalties in case of violations. Dante Amento, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Meanwhile, the national government has modified several measures in areas to be placed under general community quarantine beginning tomorrow, though other ECQ rules will remain. Rosalie Cos details why.
Starting tomorrow, May 1, most parts of the country will be placed under General Community Quarantine or GCQ. Malacanang releases the omnibus guidelines in GCQ areas to ensure the safety and health of residents despite less strict measures. Minimum health standards shall be complied with at all times, such as physical distancing, wearing a face mask, temperature check, and the use of alcohol or sanitizer. The movement of all persons in GCQ areas is limited to accessing essential goods and services and going to work. Movement for leisure purposes remains prohibited. Persons below 21 years old and those who are 60 years old and above with health risk, pregnant women, and persons who reside with them shall remain in their residences at all times except when indispensable. Work in government offices may be fully operational. Essential work gatherings and religious activities will be allowed, subject to strict physical distancing and health protocol. Public transportation will be allowed to resume, but a strict 1-meter distance between passengers shall be observed. Jeepneys are still not allowed, but buses shall operate with 50% capacity. Non-essential travel from GCQ areas to areas under enhanced community quarantine and vice versa is prohibited. Those allowed to enter and exit to and from the ECQ zone are health workers, government officials, and frontline personnel. Those traveling for medical and humanitarian reasons, persons transiting to the airport for travel abroad, workers in permitted establishments, and persons providing essential goods and services, public utilities, essential skeleton workforce, repatriated OFWs and returning non-OFWs, and other persons transported through the efforts of the national government. The movement of all types of cargoes in ECQ or GCQ areas shall be unhampered. Physical classes in GCQ areas are still suspended, but higher education institutions may hold classes through flexible learning arrangements to finish the academic year 2019-2020. Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Residents of Cavite Province are expected to remain indoors for 15 more days unless they are essential workers. Meanwhile, Odiongan Town in Romblon and the entire Masbate Province will remain close to their neighbors. Jerickson Bunyag details why.
Cavite Province will be under calibrated quarantine beginning tomorrow until May 15. Curfew will be 24 hours, but individuals with quarantine passes will be allowed to buy their necessities only until 6 in the evening. Only frontliners, food handlers, bank employees, and personnel in relief operations are allowed to travel. Checkpoints and anti-tambay operation will be more stringent. Police and military personnel will be apprehended, even accosted violators of these measures. Marketplaces will not close. Essential businesses like food services, gasoline stations, and financial services will remain open. The liquor ban across the province remains. These measures were confirmed by Governor Junvic Remulla. In Masbate, the provincial government has issued Executive Order Number 6, which states the guidelines for the general community quarantine across the island province beginning tomorrow. People from other provinces will not be allowed entry to anywhere in Masbate. Social distancing and wearing of face mask rules will be strictly enforced. Under GCQ, inter-island travel will be allowed, but physical distancing must be strictly observed. Stay-at-home orders remain for citizens 0 to 20 years old and 60 years old and above. Public transportation will resume, but with a limit of passenger capacity. Malls and other business establishments will be allowed to reopen their doors from 8 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. But hotels and beach resorts and businesses in line of tourism will remain closed. 50% of employees in every government office may report to work again. Classes in the tertiary level will resume to complete the academic year requirements, but social distancing and wearing of face masks must be practiced at all times. Meanwhile, Odiongan Town in Romblon, which will under general community quarantine beginning tomorrow, has the largest marketplace and business establishments like money remittance establishments and government offices. According to Odiongan Mayor Trina Fabic, they will allow the entry of people from other municipalities, but with a limit of 100 persons per town every day. Barangay checkpoints, barangay curfew, mandatory wearing of face masks, and liquor ban remain in place. Mass transportation within the province, to include jeepneys and tricycles, will resume. Romblon is now COVID-19 free after a German national here who had tested positive for the disease recovered. Jerickson Bunyag, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And now let's take a peek at the tally of coronavirus cases around the globe. The COVID-19 pandemic has now reached more than 3.2 million confirmed cases in 185 countries and regions. The fast-spreading disease has claimed nearly 228,000 lives, while almost 1 million patients across the world have recovered from the disease. The United States of America now has 1,040,488 reported coronavirus cases, with almost 70,000 death cases. Spain trails behind with less than 237,000 positive cases, but more than half of that number are recoveries. Italy comes third with 203,591 confirmed cases. France, the United Kingdom, Germany, Turkey, and Russia all have more than 100,000 cases. Iran, China, Brazil, and Canada are also among the top 12 countries worst hit by the coronavirus pandemic. Meanwhile, the Philippines Health Department reports that as of 4 p.m. today, the country has a total of 8,488 confirmed COVID-19 cases. This after 276 more test results turned out positive. Meanwhile, Filipinos mourn as we lose 10 more patients. The death toll is now at 568. Our valiant medical frontliners have helped 20 more patients recover from the illness, bringing the country's total recoveries to 1,043. The Department of Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere confirms that Marikina Testing Laboratory will begin to operate tomorrow. This after the release of the testing facility's accreditation earlier today, the health official said. The Marikina Testing Laboratory is the 20th DOH-accredited COVID-19 testing laboratory in the Philippines. Additional testing laboratories in the country will augment the country's testing capacity. The DOH targets to conduct 30,000 COVID-19 tests per day come May. Yesterday morning, 175 overseas Filipino workers arrived in Iloilo City from Luzon. 39 of them are Iloilo City natives, 5 are from Guimaras, while the rest are residents of other provinces. Iloilo City health officials say they have recorded new cases among these returning OFWs. Lalaine Moreno explains why.
Iloilo City records 9 new coronavirus cases among overseas Filipino workers who traveled to the city yesterday after getting stranded in Luzon due to the ECQ. Of the 40 OFWs who underwent COVID-19 rapid test, 7 from Iloilo City and 2 from Guimaras tested positive for the disease. To curb transmission and as part of the city government's safety measures, the OFWs will be allowed to return to their families in Iloilo City only after completing the 14-day mandatory quarantine. Iloilo City Mayor Jared Reñas said although the rapid test results may not yield 100% accurate results, this may be their guide in monitoring the OFW's health conditions. The city government has ordered the hotel accommodating the returning OFWs to go on a lockdown. They have requested the health department to prioritize the confirmatory test of the 9 cases. On April 9, another OFW from Iloilo City tested positive for COVID-19. Lalaine Moreno, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Philippine health authorities say it is premature to say the peak of COVID-19 cases in the country will be in July. Aiko Miguel has the details why.
The Department of Health explains there are models that scientists use to have a view of the projection of COVID-19 cases in the Philippines. According to infectious diseases expert Dr. Benjamin Ko of UST Hospital, the COVID-19 crisis in the country may end in July. But the DOH clarifies the model Filipino experts used was that previously used in a study of Singaporean experts on its projection for the Philippines. The DOH clarifies such projection has no solid basis. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergara explains a feasibility analysis of syndromic surveillance using spatiotemporal epidemiological modeler or FASTER is used by the Department of Science and Technology. FASTER is an instrument used in estimating, monitoring, and recording COVID-19 transmission in the Philippines.
Kinuha na model na yun na talaga yung ginagamit natin for our estimates. This is the DOST FASTER estimates kung saan we have already use this as basis for our doubling time, use this as our basis for our estimating our logistics and resources.
The health official added that the IATF on COVID-19 is also studying when the peak of the disease will be in the country. Undersecretary Vergara says it is premature to declare when the peak of Philippine cases will be. What's clear at this point is the slowing down of the doubling time of coronavirus cases.
Napakahirap at saka it's quite risky for us to declare now that we really are plateauing and that we really are reaching that peak. Wala pa ho tayo dyan. Kahit ako, masasabi ko yan, no? Na hindi pa po, it's too early for us to say that we have reached the peak already of our cases.
Filipinos may also expect such projection to change once the country's testing capacity reaches 30,000 tests per day come May. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Students in the country may expect to use electronic books when classes resume. Vincent Arboleda tells us why.
Since the Department of Education has yet to decide on the final date of the opening of classes, and with the IATF prohibiting children and individuals aged 0 to 20 years old to go outside of their homes, DepEd is now planning to integrate the use of electronic books or e-books as part of the new normal in teaching students as COVID-19 continues to be a threat in the country.
In case magkaroon ng class suspensions or hindi pwede pumasok yung bata, bawat linggo ng ating school calendar, magkakaroon niya ng e-book for each grade level and each subject areas.
DepEd targets to produce 60 e-books a week to be used by teachers and students as part of the new normal in the Philippine education system. Around 1,700 DepEd personnel are also undergoing training to produce e-books to be given to the students online. Online trainings and webinars are also being conducted to teachers on the ways of using e-books as a learning resource and has taught around 70,000 teachers out of more than 900,000 teachers in the country. Abanil said the e-books will be accessible via DepEd's website, DepEd Commons, and will be free for access using Globe or Smart Data connections. DepEd also emphasized the importance of parents in the learning process of their children as they will be the ones to teach their children at home.
Ang DepEd, makapagbigay kami ng mga activities, makapagbigay kami ng tools sa inyo using technology, pero nasa magulang talaga ang pag-supervise ng mga bata para gagamitin itong mga tools at mga activities na to para matuloy naman ang mga pag-aaral ng ating mga kabataan.
Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Owners of gyms and fitness centers get by amid the ECQ in Metro Manila, but they hope for their businesses to boom post-COVID-19. Asher Kadapan Jr. reports.
Gyms and fitness centers can be seen in almost every corner of Metro Manila nowadays. Their services help busy people keep their body and resistance strong. But after more than a month of closure due to the community quarantine protocols, their owners and employees are also affected.
Ito nga sir, sarado. Ay talagang marami talagang naapektuhan. Siyempre yung mga kasama ko rito, nawalan din ng trabaho. Saka siyempre kami rin dito nawalan na kami ng hanap buhay.
To get by amid the COVID-19 crisis, sports and fitness professionals find a solution online. Aside from helping their clients keep a healthy body, it's an opportunity for them to earn for their daily needs.
What we've done so far was to, again, for those clients who continued to get our services through online coaching, we are charging them a fraction of what they usually of the usual fee that we charge.
Client memberships have also been freezed and extended while their facilities are closed.
Yung privilege namin, pag hindi na-consume, pag wala na yung lockdown, tapos na yung lockdown, pwede silang bumalik.
Should the quarantine protocols get lifted and gyms resume operation, they worry of having lesser clients who are adopting to the new normal. On the other hand, there's also a good chance that their business will boom as people have learned their lesson from this pandemic that keeping a healthy body is a good weapon to fight diseases. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The government has extended the distribution of the first tranche of cash assistance under the Social Amelioration Program by 7 more days. Let's find out why from Asher Kadapan Jr.
Today is supposedly the deadline of the distribution of cash assistance under the Social Amelioration Program or SAP, but it was extended 7 more days because half of the total fund has yet to be disbursed to the beneficiaries. As of April 29, a total of 50.1 billion pesos has been provided to about 9.5 million families across the country. 80.8 billion pesos or 98.8% of the budget allotment for SAP has been released to local government units or LGU. According to Social Welfare Secretary Rolando Bautista, only 104 out of the 1,632 LGUs were able to achieve a 100% payout of SAP.
Actually po, meron po talagang implikasyon kapag ang SAP first tranche ay hindi maibibigay. Unang-una, siyempre, yung pangangailangan ng mga dapat makatanggap noon, target beneficiary, ay hindi natutugunan.
Secretary Bautista also explains that the delay of disbursement affects the release of fund for the second tranche as the liquidation will also undergo a 15-day validation. DSWD assures that Filipinos who are eligible for the cash assistance but did not receive any on the first tranche is guaranteed to get it on the second tranche. The Social Welfare Department also supports the initiative of the barangays to post the list of beneficiaries for transparency and to ensure the eligibility of the recipients of the cash aid. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Though the COVID-19 crisis has hugely made the country's labor sector struggle, Dole remains positive that the country will be able to bounce back from the crisis. Ray Pelayo reports why.
The Department of Labor and Employment is preparing to open about 1 million fresh jobs in essential sectors as tribute to workers on Labor Day tomorrow, May 1. Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III said the agency is now coordinating with the Department of Public Works and Highways to identify areas with ongoing government projects, especially in the provinces where additional workers are needed.
We will request them to increase their manpower by at least 10 to 20% para ma-accommodate yung mga balik-balik probinsya.
The agency is also crafting the guidelines for returning workers in relation to the new normal. Dole estimates it will need around 25 billion pesos to fund the department's post-COVID-19 recovery plan, as it will need to compensate additional workers for 3 to 4 months' work. Meanwhile, the guidelines for the new normal in the labor sector have been completed. They will be imposed once workers return to their workplaces. The guidelines include safety measures against the risk of COVID-19, which, according to Bello, awaits the IATF's approval. Ray Pelayo, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The largest labor group in the country fears the possible effects that could be caused by the new normal when work resumes. An online rally will also be conducted tomorrow. Ray Pelayo is back to tell us why.
Laborers who want to voice out their grievances even in the middle of the COVID-19 crisis have found a way to do what they have always done yearly on Labor Day. That's tomorrow, May 1. This is through the internet, says Associated Labor Union Trade Union Congress of the Philippines spokesperson Alan Tanhusay.
Siguro may tatayo sa kalye, mga 10 o 20 na may mga social distancing, nakamaskara, at may mga placards, at yun ay i-video, yun ay lilitratuhan at ipopost sa social media.
The group estimates that around 5 million workers were affected by the implementation of the enhanced community quarantine due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It's a given worry that workers affected by the quarantine protocols raised by the national and local governments across the country might not have their jobs anymore because even their employers are also affected economically. On a positive view, technologies may be advantage to those who will work from home. But the labor group fears this work arrangement could result in more contractual employments. Tanhusay says that employers might resort to this setup to avoid paying social benefits of their workers like SSS and Pag-ibig.
Kung work from home ka, o babayaran lang kita kung ano yung inutos ko sa'yo. For example, kung nag-utos lang ako sa'yo na magtrabaho ka lang ng 3 oras, yung babayaran lang kita ng 3 oras, hindi 8 hours.
A wage increase petition is pending with the Department of Labor and Employment. Ray Pelayo, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Philippine National Police says they will arrest individuals who will conduct protests tomorrow, Labor Day. PNP Chief Police General Archie Gamboa explains conducting protest rallies is a violation of the enhanced community quarantine. General Gamboa says there are police personnel assigned to monitor any conduct of such Labor Day protests, not only in Metro Manila, but also in other parts of the country. Several militant groups plan to hold their online protests tomorrow, May 1, on Labor Day. They will focus their demands to the government on having medical-based solution to the coronavirus pandemic, as well as the financial and health needs of Filipino workers. According to presidential spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque, the labor groups can hold their protests online and ensure they will not violate any protocols of the enhanced community quarantine.
Re-remind ko lang po, under ECQ, bawal po ang physical gathering, no? So pwede naman po kayo magprotesta online kung ninanais nyo. Wag lang natin lalabagin yung ECQ dahil mas malaking bantayan sa kalusugan, no? Hinahayaan naman po natin na magsalita at ilabas ang hinaing ng ating mga uring manggagawa.
The Transportation Department assures the strict implementation of physical distancing in all public utility vehicles that will be allowed to operate again in areas under the general community quarantine. This with help from the PNP and other transport agencies. Joanne Nano reports why.
Public utility vehicles will be back on the road starting tomorrow in GCQ areas. Though a limited number of passengers must be accommodated on every vehicle, the Transportation Department also released several guidelines expected to be followed by PUV drivers, conductors, and passengers. One is the mandatory wearing of face masks. There must be alcohol and sanitizer for passengers on the PUV. Passengers with high body temperature must not be allowed on board. PUVs must have a thermal scanner. The DOTR encourages the use of automated fare collection system, or the driver should provide a box where passengers can put their payments to lessen direct physical contact. Footbaths should be in place and drivers must covered with acetate for protection. PUV should load only 50% of the vehicle's capacity. This include buses, taxis, UV Express vans, and transport network vehicle services. Tricycles will be under the regulation of the local government unit. However, only one passenger is allowed to board. Motorcycle taxis are still prohibited. PNR, MRT3, LRT1, and LRT2 trains remain non-operational as the National Capital Region remains under enhanced community quarantine. Land transport that will resume partial operation should acquire a special permit from the LTFRB. Meanwhile, in the aviation sector, only passengers with travel documents allowed by the government to travel will be permitted to enter airports. Airport employees must wear personal protective equipment. The Civil Aeronautics Board is looking into limiting the number of passengers inside aircraft by making the middle seat vacant or the last 3 rows where a COVID-19 suspect case will be isolated. On the other hand, a passenger vessel that will travel to provinces under the GCQ should be loaded with 50% capacity only. COVID-19 rapid testing booths will be placed in all seaport and airports.
The new normal will basically be predicated on health and safety. Nandiyan ho yung tinatawag natin na wearing mask, sanitation, disinfection. The new normal, nandiyan ho yung tinatawag natin na social distancing. Parang magiging permanente na yan. And you follow the 1 meter rule. You follow the social distancing not only while you are on board the vehicle, but more importantly, while you wait and while you queue.
Despite limiting the number of passengers, the DOTR says that fare increase is not in the horizon as of now. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Through the collaboration and tireless efforts of valiant medical frontliners in the National Children's Hospital, a 16-day-old baby recovered from COVID-19. According to the Department of Health, the baby was confined for 11 days and survived the deadly disease. The baby's recovery is considered as God's miracle and has been tagged as a baby survivor. The DOH thanks the healthcare workers in the hospital for taking good care of the baby. The baby survivor story is proof there are great chances of recovering from COVID-19, whether young or old. The baby survivor has been turned over to its family. And for the news abroad, here's Stephanie Z live from Hong Kong. Good evening, Stephanie.
Good evening, Diego. The United States sees hope with a drug to fight the novel coronavirus, although data on the drug under analysis need to be reviewed. Kath Carriedo details why.
U.S. President Donald Trump on Wednesday greeted as good news reports that a Gilead Sciences Incorporated experimental antiviral drug might help fight the coronavirus. infectious disease official Anthony Fauci said data show it appears to help patients hospitalized with COVID-19. Fauci, though, said that the data on the drug remdesivir needs to be further analyzed.
This will be submitted to a peer-reviewed journal and will be peer-reviewed appropriately. But we think it's really opening the door to the fact that we now have the capability of treating.
Gilead on Wednesday said remdesivir helped improve outcomes for patients with COVID-19 in a clinical trial and provided data suggesting it worked better when given earlier in the course of illness caused by the virus.
Well, I think it's a beginning. I thought Tony explained it really well. It's a beginning. It's a positive. It's a very positive event.
There are currently no approved treatments or vaccines for the highly contagious new coronavirus, but many approaches are being tried while awaiting an effective vaccine to prevent infection by the virus. Kat Carriedo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
South Korea reports no new cases since the peak of COVID-19 cases in the country in February. Meanwhile, Japan's leaders will consult experts before finally deciding on whether to extend the state of emergency beyond May 6. Kathy Maraos explains why.
South Korea reported earlier today no new domestic coronavirus cases for the first time since its February 29 peak, the Korea Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or KCDC, said. KCDC reported 4 new infections, all imported cases, taking the national tally to 10,765. The death toll rose by 1 to 247. Yoon Tae-ho, a disinfection officer with South Korea's Central Disaster Management Headquarters, who is also the Director General for Public Health Policy at the Health Ministry, said at a briefing it appears as though there were no infections reported from this month's general elections, which involved about 29 million voters. Meanwhile, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said today his government would consult experts on whether to extend a national state of emergency beyond May 6. He said they would like to make a judgment with analysis and opinions from experts, noting that the current situation in medical facilities is very severe. With regard to extending or making changes to the state of emergency declaration, they would like to make a decision before and not so close to May 7 because there are local authorities affected, not to mention the preparations and tasks in the administrative process. Abe declared the nationwide state of emergency on April 16 to last through May 6. The measures rely on persuasion for citizens to stay home and businesses to close, as the country's laws do not provide for an enforceable lockdown. Kat Maraos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And those are the reasons behind the stories in other parts of the globe. I'm Stephanie C. Back to you, Diego.
Thank you, Stephanie Z, reporting live from Hong Kong.
Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has given the starkest warning yet that the rearranged Tokyo Olympics next year might have to be canceled completely. And this reports why.
It will be impossible to host the Tokyo Olympic Games next year unless the coronavirus pandemic is contained, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said on Wednesday. The International Olympic Committee and the Japanese government postponed the Games last month until July 2021 because of the impact of the coronavirus outbreak. The Games were originally scheduled for July 23 to August 8, 2020. With the epidemic's worldwide infection rate climbing and the experts suggesting the discovery of COVID-19 vaccine is still a long way off, questions are being asked about whether the huge sporting event might need to be delayed further.
Since countries all over the world will participate in the Games, it must be held in a way that shows mankind has won its battle against the coronavirus infectious disease. Otherwise, it will be hard to hold the Games.
Abe's comments came a day after the Tokyo 2020 President Yoshiro Mori was asked whether the games could be delayed until 2022 if the pandemic remains a threat next year. No, he replied. In that case, it's cancelled, he added. Health experts, including USA's Dr. Anthony Fauci, a key member of the White House's coronavirus task force, have said that development of a vaccine for the disease is at least a year to 18 months away. Tokyo has confirmed over 100 infections so far, while the entire country has almost 14,000. R.L. Camilla, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Residents in a French town visit vending machines at the square not for candies. June Garin tells the story why.
People queued in front of two vending machines on Wednesday in a square here in France, awaiting face masks and other protective equipment. In the northern French town of Jumont, the machine also offers hand sanitizers and latex gloves. The installation coincides with the local government's initiative of ordering 10,500 masks to be distributed free of charge to city residents. Since the onset of the novel coronavirus outbreak in the country, which has to date killed more than 23,000 nationwide, France has struggled to keep up with demand for masks and resolved to order of 1 billion masks from China last month. France is looking towards easing a nearly 2-month lockdown from May 11. The government here will oblige people to wear masks in public transport and in schools and workplaces where social distancing rules are not feasible. France, with a total population of about 65 million, places fourth among the countries worst hit by the coronavirus pandemic. June Garin, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
A company in Monaco that manufactures technological devices has shifted to face shield production. Nina Armilio tells the story why.
To aid in filling shortages of protective equipment in the new coronavirus crisis, a producer of technological devices has repurposed itself to play its part in the COVID-19 battle. The Atoms company, which usually assembles joysticks and controllers, started manufacturing visors that can be used by frontliners. The visors are composed of a 3D printed material assembled with transparent protective plastic panels and an elastic band, Atoms Industrial Methods Manager Fabian Flott said. Flott said that on its own, Atoms can only produce 20 visors a day, limited by their capacity of 3D printing. That's why the company has called on nearby institutions such as the University of Nice in southern France and other individuals with 3D printers to help with the production on a voluntary basis. Today, the company collects and distributes 500 face shields to health workers per week, roughly 15% of which are manufactured in Atoms workshop, Flott said. A third of the production is distributed in Monaco, while the rest goes to Nice and other regions in southern France, he said. Nina Armilio, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Our kasangbahay, we are at a time when the country is under a state of health emergency. The cooperation of all Filipinos is imperative to avoid the deadly virus. We are calling on everyone to be calm.
And most importantly, let us join together in prayer for our country and for the whole world to survive this crisis. You may join us in our daily UNTV community prayer at these hours as flashed on your screens. And those are the reasons behind the news. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And I am Angelo Castro III. Because we need to know. We will always ask why.